every 10 years, the landscape of film criticism changes. Coming in at the end of 2022, the BFI has announced that the Sight and Sound Critics and Directors poll will return. The number one movie is a surprise. It is the over 3-hour Chantal Akerman feminist drudgery masterpiece of the 70s, Jeanne Dielman, what's it called? It's her address. Jeanne Dielman, 23 Rue de Commerce, or Quai de Commerce, 1080 Bruxelles. It's her address in Brussels.
Right. Rolls right off the tongue.
It's a 3-hour movie with a 3-hour title that no one has ever seen. A movie by a Belgian director named Chantal Akerman, kind of an avant-garde quasi-documentarian, the kind of director whose movies might be 8 minutes long or might be 4 hours long. You'd be more likely to see them playing by night in a museum or an art gallery than in an art house, as the best movie of all time. I had just seen it weirdly. Mindy and I had watched it maybe 6 months before. This movie I understood, but you really do kind of watch this woman make beds for 10 minutes, and then she makes lamb chops for half an hour. We learn that she's got kind of her son's curious about sexuality, but she likes to avoid the topic, but she's also paying for the rent with a weekly client who she sleeps with.
Oh, so it's not
plotless. It's because even though you've learned, oh, wow, she's paying the rent by sleeping with that guy every Tuesday, then it's like, all right, back to her breading the cutlets, but there is something hypnotic about watching the drudgery. And of course, that's the easy feminist angle, is like, a huge audience and a largely male audience has turned a male gaze on women in many ways, but like never to just the dreariness of making dinner for your ungrateful kid. Akerman made this in the 70s when this kind of thing was a little more revolutionary, like, consider the free labor here, men. But that's not why. And the funny thing is, when I talked to Mindy about this, she actually, I think it really spoke to her on a much deeper level. Like I was like, oh, I totally get like why this movie works. And she was like, this is one of the like best movies I've seen in a while, even though it's very slow and 3 hours long. So Akerman has been played at a recent film festival, kind of a landmark thing in London, kind of did rediscover her whole oeuvre. And it's very relevant to the times. And we're living in an era when you can watch a 3-hour movie on streaming or video, so you could pause it, like a lot of these long form, slow core movies, Bellatar and stuff have done much better in recent years, given that you don't have to make a day-long commitment to the theater. She died in Paris. A suicide. I didn't know that.
Oh dear.
So like the depression, the female lens on depression that's apparent in much of her work, I guess, was autobiographical.